thanks again for inviting me. I appreciate the time. And I'm a socially engaged artist, and I do work closely with communities, schools, and nonprofit organizations, civic organizations throughout the country in offering creative placemaking projects that involve people who live in the community and myself in orchestrating a creative art experience within that town or community or school. And I do that. I've been doing that for about 10 years. And so I was invited by Susan. Actually, Susan met me while I was in Sisseton, South Dakota. And she invited me to come out to share my experience while she was organizing the Art of Community at Rural SC. And I agreed to come out. And my first place was in Blackville. And my second location was in Estill. And like the film had said, it was just an incredible 1 month residency at each facility, at each location. And I've met so many people, and both were successes to share. And I'll have to admit that, and still today, I'm getting positive responses from people within the community with those projects. So it's an ongoing kind of relationship that one takes on a community if they want to kind of move beyond, in identifying their community, their needs. And I find as a creative person or artist that the art of art and culture is kind of left out when people want to find a way to kind of grow their community. And so I come in and showcase that, and I also off talks about that. Recently it was in Bismarck, North Dakota, during the Main Street Conference, where I showed the film and spoke about how a lot of urban planners, city officials are leaving the art and culture out of their kind of creative placemaking projects. And so Susan invited me to come back today to talk more about specifically like the business of how art and culture can be an identifier to help grow your community in a way that kind of shows a connection. And I have to say, it's a very homegrown tool that very little has been written about in the last 10 years. So it's a matter of relationship building in its respect, I believe. And also it's a cause or a need that comes from the community or the school, and how to identify those causes or problems within that. And then so they find that one way is a creative way, which is an artist working in this social realm. And that's what I do. And Susan invited me to do that. And so one point is that when you identify a cause or a need or a problem, you can then address it creatively. And so by doing that is you gather your creatives, like your mavens in town, and but also creative connectors, and not just in South Carolina, but throughout the United States. I like using the word mavens and creative connectors because it's a really cool buzzword and it really sticks to people. And I think that by bringing those people together to brainstorm ideas about those and about that cause or need, that engagement, you then kind of fan out your community, your governmental agency, your stakeholders, to talk about these concerns that you have and how can we address those concerns in a creative fashion. And so not just, physically what one can do is easily fan out pamphlets, email blasts. Social media is key to doing this, especially. Also going to council member meetings at council chambers once a month to address those costs. So you have the government on board. So now you have these kind of cross-pollination happening between cross-agency, which is nonprofits and schools and local artists coming together. And then you have intergovernmental, because within the government itself, you have the Office of Cultural Affairs, you have Parks and Recreation kind of thinks that, hey, that's a great idea, hence the Estill Park. And then you have this kind of cross-sector cross-pollination happening between the cross-agency intergovernmental coming together. So you have this kind of synergy happening between everybody being on board to say, hey, you know what, let's address this in a creative, cultural way. And so that's how it kind of creates a kind of pollination. Starts with a group of people or one artist's idea sharing with others, and then an experience that I have realized that has come to fruition based on my experience of how these events come together in a way. And I think the art of community rural SC is very much the bullseye of what's happening, because connecting artists and creative connectors and mavens is extremely new. And I think and I know that it's being brought in a national level, that it can really change a community in all aspects in the ruralness of this country. And it's all about capital. And what I mean by capital is not so much about physical capital, it's about human capital and how people get together and socially and that social capital together to share this idea. And then guess what? You have community capital. So all those capitals come together to create a really wonderful, healthy way, a creative, cultural way in identifying those needs that you wanted to address in the first place.